The number of road accidents goes up drastically during the end of year holidays. Almost 1,500 people died last December alone. This year, the Road Accident Fund is encouraging motorists to choose life-saving behaviour on the roads. This includes doing pre-trip inspections of vehicles, buckling up children and taking breaks on long drives. For more on this topic, I'm joined by the fund's CEO, Collins Letsoalo. Thank you very much, Mr. Letsoalo, here for your time here on eNCA. Just tell us about your plea as the Road Accident Fund, obviously joining the chorus of people who are asking people to behave on the roads.
Good morning, Marcelo, and good morning to the viewers of eNCA. Ours is a concern because you remember that we do get to pay out compensation for victims of road accidents. These are people that usually die or get maimed on our roads. And for us, the biggest issue of concern is the behavior that we see permeating itself across the country, especially during the festive season. The drinking and driving, the speeding too high for the circumstances, and overtaking where it's not safe to do so. We are calling on South Africans to make sure that they are not claimants on our side. So we are trying to avoid that by saying to them that just be the person who would like to be on the other side. So meaning that when you go onto the road, be a safe road user and expect the others to be safe road users. If we all become one, then of course at the end we'll have lower road accidents, and that will result in lower claims as well as people that get named and people's lives will be saved.
And of course, during this period, those accidents, we do see a spike in accidents. How many claimants do you have at the moment?
Well, Maso, it's not very clear to get to a number now. Remember, people would have to fill in the claims, and it takes about 3 years for people to claim. So on average, we get people claiming after 3 years of an accident happening. So we would see those numbers when the RTMC releases the figures at the beginning of next year after the festive season.
No, I'm talking about the backlog at the moment. Obviously, accidents that happen during this season will add perhaps to the backlog at the Road Accident Fund. But how's your backlog looking in terms of paying out claims that have been accepted?
We have close to about, I think it's about 70,000 now, but you know that the biggest number, the one that we are going through, is more than 200,000 that we have. So for the ones that we have already looked at and they have merits, about 70,000 claims in the backlog. So we are working through those. The biggest ones are the ones that we have finalized, and then we are paying over a period. We take 180 days to be able to pay once we have finalized the claim. So we are there. Our RNYP, as we see it, which is requested but not yet paid, is sitting at about 14 billion as we speak now.
And of course, the accidents that might happen during this season are going to add to that backlog, and that's why you're appealing to people to try and obey the rules of the road so that they don't have to claim.
Definitely. That's what we're expecting people to do. We're expecting people to behave in a way that will ensure a safe road environment. You know that South Africa has got one of the highest road deaths in the whole of the world, not even in Africa or anywhere else in the whole of the world. And for us, we are saying that if people adhere to road rules, that will assist, and we'll see them in the next year. If they don't behave, then we have another issue. It's not only the issue around us saying that we have got to pay out claims, but this is about lives, and this is about limbs and all that are maimed, and people that they have life-changing accidents that happen on our roads. And we think that 90% of those accidents that happen on our road are actually avoidable.
Just tell me something, Dr. Letsoalo. What are some of the reasons a claim would not be accepted or would not be approved? I mean, we've heard, for instance, we don't know if this is true, but we've heard, for instance, pedestrians who are not supposed to be walking on the highways, for instance. Those pedestrians, their claims, I assume, should not be approved because of the fact that they were jaywalking on a national road that they should not be jaywalking on.
Yes, you'd remember that RAF pays for someone who has not contributed to an accident in a way that it is a victim of a road accident. So it does not naturally pay to a person who got involved in an accident through negligence of their own. Because if you sit there and you are negligent in walking on a freeway, chances of you being paid the full amount would be quite less. We have a contribution that we would make, but it would be quite less. Maybe you'd have 80% contribution and only pay 20% in most instances. And the pedestrians must make sure that they use pedestrian crossings, they cross at robots. It helps to do that, because if they don't do that, they can avoid accidents. One of the things is also speeding in areas where people should not. And in those cases where we don't pay someone who is the driver, who is himself caused the accident, the family would come, but they can't sue us for something that was done by their loved ones. So it's important that people understand that if it's of a fault of their own, the road accident fund does not pay those claims. It would be victims, and this person, in this case, the perpetrator, is not a victim. So we pay only to victims of road accidents.
And Letsoalo, as CEO of REF, what are you doing to try and mitigate some of the bad reputation that the company has? For instance, the SIU recently being given permission to investigate corruption and maladministration at the Road Accident Fund, etc. There is bad reputation, for instance, among South Africans of REF, people who are complaining that their claims are not being processed, etc. As CEO and the face, basically, of REF, the accounting officer, what are you doing to try and mitigate that?
Look, this SIU, it's very strange that people think that it just came about. It's something that we have asked for. In 2018, the then board asked for this investigation. In May this year, we wrote to the powers that be that we really need an investigation of matters. You would remember that we have reported about 102 law firms for getting double payments and not wanting to pay back the money that they were supposed to pay back to the Road Accident Fund. And there has been a lot of maladministration in the past, certainly coming from the legal fraternity in the main, but we are also picking up that some doctors and some actuaries have been actually milking the fund for a while, where they are not supposed to get that money. And for us, it's important that that money be retained to the state for us the money to do what it's supposed to do. So in that case, we have asked that happens, and the president has gladly, in our view, signed this, and we are going to be cooperating and making sure that we get the public's money back. We need that money in Road Accident Fund. There are billions of money that have been squandered by these lawyers to pay for their opulent lifestyle. So that's what we want to make sure that we do. So we are very glad that at the end of the day, this proclamation was actually signed.
And of course, you'll be acting on whatever comes out of it, because for the lawyers or the law firms to receive double payments, there must be somebody within REF who's making these payments and probably, I'm not saying it's a fact, but probably benefiting from those double payments, etc.
Definitely. I think it takes two to tango. There's no way in which this would have done these things without the assistance of some of our colleagues within the Road Accident Fund. Some of them have gone, we are going after them, but there will be others that are still remnants of the past maladministration, and therefore we've got to make sure that we root out those within REF. So we are quite glad, and we are saying that this must happen with speed. We have already met with the SIU already this Monday, and we have started the process of making sure that everything is streamlined, and then our guys cooperate as much as possible to make sure that that information that we have internally, we can share with the SIU as a beginning of the start of this whole investigation. And no stone will be left unturned. So for us, it's something that we must make sure that REF is a clean governance and administration, and that the taxpayers' money goes to where it's supposed to go.